Let's go through my AFL predictions for round 3 and see how well I went. First up, we had Essendon and Port Adelaide, which I got wrong. That was a big grinded out game. I thought Port Adelaide were going to take it home, but then Essendon came back and won. Then we had the Bulldogs versus Carlton. I didn't get to see this one. I was out for most of the game. I'm more happy that the Bulldogs won, which got me another point on the board. Let's go. Then we had Melbourne and Gold Coast on Saturday, and I was wrong about the Gold Coast team. They can win and they can absolutely dominate. I didn't see the game either. I was at a family thing, but Gold Coast proved me wrong, and maybe I should pick Gold Coast teams from now on. Then we had St Kilda versus Richmond, and St Kilda absolutely demolished Richmond. Is Richmond tanking at the moment? Do teams tank in the AFL? That's another question, because you used to have draft picks. Is it like first or second, or is it just like one round? But I got it right, so that's all that matters. Then we had Brisbane and Geelong, and I picked the reigning champions, and this was a very slow game as well. And it was also a big comeback from Brisbane. I think Geelong were up by like 20 points or something, and I thought this was going to be done by halftime, but then nope, Brisbane came back and got into the game, and it was like super close. And then you also had Hawthorn and the Giants at the same time. Like I was switching back and forth because one game was close and then the other was close. I ended up spending more time watching the Hawthorn Giants game with Hawthorn. I think Hawthorn came back a bit as well during, like they had an early, like the Giants were winning at the early part and then the Hawthorn came back and then they took over. It's very weird how the momentum shifts in these games, and no matter if you're up by 20 or 30 points, you don't really have a proper lead. It's kind of like the NBA, how you can always come back. Then we had Adelaide and North Melbourne, another game I got right. I think is Adelaide one of those big teams for the year? Like, who are the championship favourites? Let me know in the comments. And then the final game, I found out it was a derby match. So you have both of the Western Australian teams, West Coast versus Fremantle, and Fremantle absolutely demolished them. Watched most of this game, but I ended up turning it off because it felt very one-sided for the most part. But that Harley Reid guy looks phenomenal. Like the way that he's catching the ball and then getting like he's pretty much doing as much as he can for this West Coast team. Anyway, I got 5 out of 8 this week, which brings my total to 10 out of 16. So that's pretty good considering I don't know what I'm doing.